Hello everybody. This video is to help you guys take a image off the internet, which is most likely going to be a raster image, and convert that into a vector image. You need it to be a vector image to be able to laser cut it. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is find an image off the internet. Okay. So click Images, Google Images, and I want a race car. If I just click race car, I'm probably going to get pictures or photographs of a race car. We don't want pictures. We actually want more of clip art or drawings of race cars. It's just a little bit too difficult to work with photographs. So I'm going to type race car line art. Line art's going to look something like this. Okay. So search for what you want. Mine happens to be a race car. Okay, I like this one. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. I'm going to right click on it, save image as, and I'm going to save that image onto my desktop. And I actually created a folder called Mr. T Automata that I'm going to put all my files in. So Mr. T Automata actually is on the desktop of the computer. I just took it one more step. If you want to do that, that's great. If not, just make sure it's on the desktop so you can find it later. I'm going to go with the actual default name, but you could also name it, and let's save it. Okay, now we're done with our browser. So the next thing you want to do is open up GIMP. So I'm clicking on the Windows button and I'm searching for GIMP 2. Okay, I'm going to open that up. You're going to go to File, Open. You're going to go to your desktop. And remember, I created a folder, Mr. T Automata, so it should be in that folder. Now it's not showing up for some reason. So here's what I'm going to do. See down here where it says all images? I'm going to click that and I'm hopefully going to be able to find, yes, all files. All files. So you see how this showed up? Okay, let's see if we can actually open that one up. It's got a weird file extension, so hopefully it will open. Opening it, race car failed. Okay, so it didn't like that image because it had a weird file extension. So guess what? We're going to go ahead and minimize this and try again. Okay, so maybe what I'll do this time is I'll do a better search and we'll type race car, line art, and JPEG for JPEG. You can also search for a PNG. Okay, PNG. Let's see if we get better luck with that, because those two files will definitely be, we can open that up in GIMP. So race car line art, PNG. Okay, let's just go with, I don't want like this black on there, that might be a little weird. Oh, this truck's kind of cool. Not really a race car, but I like this truck. So let's click on that, right click on it and save this image. And once again, I'm going to save that in my desktop in my Mr. T Automata file. And I'm going to just call it truck. Okay. Now look down here. It actually is a PNG file, so we should be fine. So basically, if you find something you like and you can't open it up in GIMP, do a search for a PNG or a JPEG, and you should be okay. Okay. So now we can minimize that. We're going to go back to GIMP. Where's my GIMP? There's my GIMP. Open GIMP up. Now we should be able to open it. File, open. There's my truck. Okay, not that weird file, that WebP. Never seen that one before. We're going to open that one up. That will open up in GIMP. Okay? So if these toolbars are in your way, you can just kind of drag them out of the way. I'm not really going to need, well, actually I do need the lasso from the toolbox. Okay? There's more than one way to select something, but I'm going to choose to use the lasso. That's the third one over. It's the lasso. What we're going to do is we're going to select around the perimeter of the image because we're going to fill that image with black paint. because we just need to do that so that when you open it up in Inkscape, that's the program that's actually going to convert the file into a vector. It will work better. So take your lasso and you're going to click actually fairly carefully around the perimeter of your object. And where it has curves, you might have to click more. If it's nice and straight, you don't have to do a whole lot of clicking. You can just drag out. But the curves are a little bit trickier. So like watch this. This is nice and straight, so I can drag it all the way to here. Okay, but you're going to go all the way around the perimeter of your object. It might take you a little while, a little tedious. But that's what you got to do to make this work. Nice straight shot there. Okay, we got some curves here. So we're going to set more points. Okay, now when you touch them together, you're going to get what's called marching ants, or these little dashed lines that are kind of like flashing around. They look like little ants. Okay, now what you're going to do, go ahead and bring that toolbar up. We want to make sure that this little square is black, because if you click on this, you can reverse it. But we want this to be black. Get your paint bucket. Okay, actually drag this up as well. Okay. Okay, so let's click on the paint bucket. All right. And actually we don't, let's get this one out of the way. We don't need it. Here's what we need. So you want to dump this whole thing with black paint. Come down here where it says threshold. We want to bump that number up. I'm at least going to go like where it fills up kind of halfway. You can also, I think, drag it. Okay. Because if you crank that up, it's going to fill everything in black, which is what we want. So we crank that up, got the paint bucket, and now we're just going to click in the image, and it hopefully should dump black paint in the whole thing. Okay, it didn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bump that up even some more. I'm going to just crank it all the way up and see if that does it. Okay, so by upping the threshold, now we've got black paint in the whole thing. So really when you're laser cutting your shapes for your automata, you're really only going to do the profile. But what we will do is we'll put white paper on top of the cardboard, okay, like glue stick it down, and then you'll have a white surface that you can come in and by hand and add some of the detail of the truck. Okay, so now we're going to save this. File, save as. Always go to File, Save As, especially for the first time, so that you can save it where you want it. Why didn't it open up? Okay, oh, it's over here because I'm working off of 2 monitors. So this is what's going to come up. Okay. All right, actually, there's one more step I forgot. Cancel out of that. Okay. We are going to do the following. We're going to do the following. First off, you can take your lasso and just click off of it. Turn off the marching ants. One of these should turn it off. Okay, so actually I clicked on this square tool and clicked into the white space. Turned off the marching ants. That way we won't make any mistakes. We have to do this first, okay? We're going to go to File, Export As. We're going to change this because this is a GIMP file format. We're going to export it as either a PNG or a JPEG or something of that nature. So PNG is fine. We'll go with that. We're going to click Export. Oh, choose where you want to export it to. So remember, we're desktop. I'm in my Mr. T Automata file. And I should give it a different name because I already have a truck. So if I name it truck, I might get confused. I'm going to call it truck or black truck. Okay, that way I know. And then that's going to be a PNG file. So I think that should export that as a PNG file. If I accidentally deleted the .png, I think it's okay, but I'm just going to add it back, PNG, just to make sure it keeps it as a PNG file. Export that. Okay, it's going to bring this up. Just leave all this. Don't check anything. Just go ahead and go to export. Okay, that's done. So now we're done with GIMP. Okay, so now we're actually going to use another program called Inkscape. And Inkscape is the one that actually will convert it. Inkscape. I just searched for it this time. Open that up. Okay. Sometimes that takes a while to open. It's kind of strange. So be patient on that. This one's trying to open. There we go. Okay, so now what you're going to do is open the file, the black truck file, or whatever yours is, file, open. I'm going to go to desktop, and I'm looking for my Mr. T Automata folder that I created, and you can see up here you got black truck and then the first truck. So this is the one we want. Double click that. Just go OK. Leave the defaults. Okay, for some reason it opened it up over here. Okay. All right. So we're almost there, you guys. Here's the actual conversion from a PNG to a vector file, so like an SVG or other type of file that the laser can actually cut. Here we go. Select the object first. Very important. You must have these little arrows selecting your object. That's a must. Now go to Path, Trace Bitmap. Okay. Trace Bitmap is going to open up this little window right here. Click on Live Preview. Okay, if you click on Live Preview and it looks good, this image right here in the Live Preview looks good, we're going to go with it. If it doesn't look good, we can play around with some of these other things, and we can also kind of mess around with the threshold up and down. Okay, so this is basically checking differences in color, like light and dark. It's detecting an edge. This is more for color. Okay, but usually it works pretty well. Brightness cutoff with the defaults, and we'll get this. So we're good. So we're going to click OK. And then just go ahead and close that. Okay. So now you are actually going to have two files. You've got one file that is the vector, which is this one right here that I'm moving. Okay, so we're going to kind of move that one out of the way. And then this file here that I'm going to select is not a vector. So we're going to delete that. So I selected it, and I'm actually going to hit the delete key on the keyboard. Then I'll grab this one and drag it back. And so this is the one we want. Okay. So now let's save that. File, save as, Mr. T Automata. We want it there. And we're going to call this truck for laser. That way we know that this is the one that we want. And notice it's an SVG file. SVG is vector. It can be recognized by the laser cutter, and we'll be able to cut that out. So we're going to save that. Okay. So when we're ready to use the laser, we're going to actually open up the laser software. So I'm just going to minimize this. Minimize is that little dashed line right there. Minimize that one too, and it puts everything down into the taskbar. You may not be able to see that, but at the bottom of your computer there's a taskbar where that's saved. Okay, so we're going to open up a program called Retina Engrave first. Retina Engrave. It's got that little pyramid. We're going to open it. But as soon as we open it, we're actually going to minimize it. So it's still running on the computer, but it's not up on the screen. So let's minimize that. Okay. Now we want to reopen or just bring back up the Inkscape file of the truck. I didn't close that, I just minimized it. And we're going to go to File, Print. You want to look in all of your printers for full spectrum engineering. Double click that. Okay. And you don't want to engrave, we want to vector cut. So click on that tab and voila. So all of those steps, which were, I know, a little bit of a pain to do, is providing us with a very crisp nice outline that the laser cutter will follow. Okay? So one thing you can do is pay